Workers to go back to work and ballot on Labour Court recommendations. The pound feels the pain on the foreign exchanges. Wholesale interest rates rise. Talks at the Maze break down. The demonstration ends. The protest goes on. And revenge for Italia 90. Ireland misses its chance against Romania. Good evening and welcome. Striking health workers are to suspend their industrial action immediately, pending the outcome of a nationwide ballot on Labour Court recommendations issued tonight. The Labour Court recommends increases ranging from 5.5% to 12.5%, as well as the establishment of an expert group to examine changes in the paramedics' professions. The decision to suspend the strike has been welcomed by the Minister for Health.
Approaching 2 weeks on the picket lines this morning, hospitals and health services across the country badly disrupted, waiting lists lengthening. But an end perhaps in sight as the Labour Court prepared to issue its recommendation 48 hours in gestation.
I believe it can and should and will be sorted out, but it can and will and should be sorted out within the context of the commitments that we've already, all of us, entered into in Partnership 2000 and the Programme for Competitiveness in Work, which is to base claims on real changes in work practices and real productivity and not on claiming relativity to other groups.
The Labour Court recommendation was finally issued shortly after 5 o'clock this evening. In an attempt to bring this dispute to a close, it recommends an increase of 5.5% in the bottom of the pay scales for each paramedical profession, an increase of 10.5% for those on top, with stepped increases in between. It also recommends a long service increment of 2% for those 3 years or more at the top of their scale. This, in effect, would mean increases of 12.5% for paramedics with long service. Also central to the deal being examined tonight is the proposed establishment of an expert group to examine and report on the changes which have taken place in each profession. The recommendation falls somewhat short of the paramedics' demand for parity with ward sisters following the nurses' dispute. The ward sisters got an increase of 17.5%. The question tonight, whether or not all this was enough to lead to an immediate suspension of the strike.
Well, the Executive has decided to suspend the industrial action with immediate effect in order to allow the membership the opportunity to ballot on the Labour Court recommendation. The decision was a difficult one for the Executive, but the margin of difference that exists now between the two sides, given the improvements in pay that were recommended by the Court, is very marginal.
The immediate effect of tonight's decision is that pickets will not be placed tomorrow and services will begin returning to normal. But the eventual outcome of the paramedics' ballot may not be known for as long as 3 weeks.
The Irish pound weakened significantly.